Welcome to Let's Learn Smart by Dr. Digital Talk College. It is Dr. Rashid Hashmi explaining the paper for Cambridge Assessment International Examination. This is Biology 5090 variant 1-2 for the exam of October-November 2019. Here we have 1 hour for solving the multiple choice question, but here we may take more than 1 hour because we'll be explaining that why is some answer correct and why some answers are wrong. So let's see. In question 1, a human cheek cell and a spongy mesophilous cell from a leaf are examined under microscope. Which structures are seen in both cells? Cell membrane. You know that cell membrane is the part of every living cell. Nucleus is the part of every living cell. Cytoplasm is the part of every living cell. Most probably this answer is correct. But let's see the next ones. Cell wall. You know that cell wall is not present in human cheek cell because this is an animal cell. So option B is wrong. Cytoplasm, cell wall. Once again they are saying cell wall. So cell wall is not present in animal cell. Nucleus, cytoplasm and the cell wall in option B. So in all the three options B, C and D, cell wall is present, which cannot be present in an animal cell. So the answer for this question is A. In question 2, which statements about active transport in the root hair cells are correct? Number 1, energy is required. Okay, substances may be absorbed as ions. The membrane is partially permeable. Yeah, you know that root hair cells, they are absorbing mineral ions by active transport, so energy is required. So they are absorbing mineral ions like magnesium ions, sodium, potassium, calcium, nitrates. So they are the ions. So the membrane is partially permeable. Wherever there is active transport, the membrane is partially permeable. So all these three statements are seen, they seem correct. So most probably answer A is correct. In case of B, 1 and 2, they are saying that statement 3 is not correct, but you know that partially permeable membrane is there. So option B answer is wrong. 1 and 3, they are omitting the statement 2, but we cannot omit statement 2 because mineral ions are absorbed. So C is wrong. 2 and 3, D is wrong. So including all the three statements 1, 2 and 3, they are correct for this answer. So the answer for this question is A. In question 3, discs of raw potato tissue are weighed, initial mass. They are then placed in sucrose solution of different concentrations. After 1 hour, their masses are measured again. The final mass, initial mass is taken and the final mass is taken. The graph shows how the ratio of initial mass to final mass changes with concentration of the sucrose. You know that on x-axis this is concentration of the sucrose solution in mole per dm cube, changing from 0.1 mole per dm cube to 0.5. And the ratio of initial mass to final mass is that it is constant up to 0.1 and then it is increasing, and after 0.4 moles per dm cube once again it is constant. Now let's see, the question is that which concentration of the sucrose solution has the same water potential as that for the cells in the potato tissues, potato discs. You know that when there will be end osmosis equal to exosmosis. That is, end osmosis is equal to exosmosis when the concentration of the cytoplasm and the solution will be same, then end osmosis will be equal to exosmosis. So initial mass will be equal to the final mass. There will be no change in the mass. So if there is, for example, initial mass is 5 and the final mass is 5, then the answer will be 1. The ratio of initial to final mass will be 1. So you can see that here it is the 1 at this concentration, almost 0.03. So at 0.03 mole per dm cube, the ratio of initial to final mass is 1. So the answer for this question is B. 0.1, you know that there is 0.4, the result is means 0.4, that is initial mass is greater and the final mass is greater and the initial mass is less. So A option is wrong, B option is wrong, and D option is wrong. Okay, because they are giving that the initial to final mass it is a different, initial mass is different than the final mass. So answer A is wrong, C is wrong, and D is wrong. So the answer for this question is B. In question 3, what happens to an enzyme after it has catalyzed a reaction? You know that it can no longer fit the substrate molecules. We know that enzymes can be used again and again, so statement A is wrong. It can now catalyze several different reactions. Okay, let's see that whether this statement is correct or not. For the 4 different reactions, one enzyme is specific for one reaction, so we cannot say that different reactions can be catalyzed. C is it has become part of the product molecule. No, when the reaction is completed, the enzyme is detached from the reactants as well as products, so different reactions cannot be catalyzed and it cannot be the part of the products. It is available to catalyze the same reaction again. Yes, for the same reaction it can be used again and again. So option D is correct. The answer for this question is D. Question 5. Some chemical symbols are listed. Glucose, carbon dioxide, water, oxygen, 6 glucose, 6 carbon dioxide, 6 water, and 6 oxygen. What is the equation for photosynthesis? So let's first of all write the equation for photosynthesis. We know that this is 6H2O plus 6CO2. It is forming C6H12O6 plus 6O2. So 6 water, 6 carbon dioxide, 1 glucose, and 6 oxygen. They are the product. So what should be the equation? In equation there should be 6 water, 7 plus 6. 7 plus 6 is option in C. Nowhere else 7 plus 6. Okay, in D 6 plus 7 is also there. Okay, and the product should be 1 glucose, option 1, and 6 oxygen. 1 and 8 should be the product. In option C, 1 and 8 are the product. In option D, 5 and 8 are the product. So you know that fifth is 6 glucose. 6 glucose cannot be produced as photosynthesis, single reaction, balanced reaction of photosynthesis. So option D is wrong. Answer for this question is C. Okay, A and B, they are straightforward wrong because they are giving different products, different reactants as well as different products. In question 6, the diagram shows some of the structures seen in section through a dicotyledonous leaf. You know that this is cuticle, this is epidermis, this is palisade mesophilous cells, spongy mesophilous cells, lower epidermis, and lower cuticle. Okay, which two features are missing from this diagram? Okay, you know that in this diagram, what features are missing? That cuticle and epidermis, I have told that both are present. This option cannot be correct. Epidermis and the guard cells, epidermis is shown, but the guard cells are missing, so this cannot be correct. Guard cells and the vascular bundles, yes, guard cells are not shown, vascular bundle is not shown, so this option can be correct. Vascular bundle and the cuticle is already shown, so option D is wrong. The answer for this question will be C. In question 7, the elements listed are found in all living organisms. Which element is not obtained by the plants from soil? Carbon. You know that carbon is absorbed in the form of carbon dioxide and this is coming from air. Okay, so carbon is not obtained. This answer is for not. So answer E is the correct answer. Iron is absorbed in the form of Fe plus 2 or Fe plus 3 from, this is coming from soil. Okay, magnesium Mg plus 2, magnesium ion is absorbed. This is from soil. Similarly, nitrogen in the form of nitrites and nitrates, they are absorbed from the soil. So B, C and D are the wrong answers. Answer for this question is A. In question 8, the table describes some characteristics of 4 people. Which persons require highest energy intake in their diet? So age is 5, 25, 35 and 65. You know that in case of A, the body mass is very low, and in case of D, it is old age, the metabolic rate will be very less. Okay, so the highest energy can be for a person of 25 years old or a 35-year-old. Sex, B is male. Males have more muscles, females have more fats. Muscle tissue is overall more active than the fat tissue. So males need more energy. So this might be correct. Level of activity, this is low activity, this is high activity. Male is working at low activity, female is working at high activity. So most probably this is wrong. This can be correct, because when somebody is working more, then energy is required a lot more. Body mass 85 kilogram and 82 kilogram, both are almost correct. But here the key point is that activity level for this female is very high. That's why the energy requirement by this female must be very high. Although female is having more fats than muscles, and the muscle tissue is more active than fat tissue, even then when the female is doing some activity, then at that time she would need a lot more energy than an inactive or a less active male. So the answer for this question is C. B cannot be the answer for this question. Okay, A is not there, B is not there. Answer is C for this question. In question 9, which structure has villi to increase the surface area? Alveoli, they have cilia, they do not have villi. Ileum, yes, there are villi in the ileum. Root hair cells, no, they have the hair, not villi. Trachea, once again they have cilia, not villi. So the answer for this question is B, while A, C and D are the wrong answers. In question 10, the table shows the rates of absorption of two different sugars, arabinose and glucose, in living and the dead intestine. The concentrations of the sugars inside the intestine were the same in each case. Rate of absorption in arbitrary unit, and the living intestine and the dead intestine. Arabinose is absorbed 31 unit, while glucose is absorbed 102 units in the living intestine, while in dead intestine, arabinose is absorbed by the same amount, while glucose is absorbed far less. What are the main methods of absorption of arabinose and glucose in the living intestine? You know that arabinose is absorbed equally whether the tissue is living or not, mean whether ATP is present or not present. So the absorption of arabinose must be by diffusion process. So C and D can be correct. A and B are the wrong answers. You know that glucose is absorbed far more in the living intestine than in the dead intestine. So glucose is absorbed by active transport, and in the dead tissue it is being absorbed by the diffusion. So one point is also clear here, that when there is diffusion, there can be active transport along with it, or if there is active transport, there can be diffusion as well alongside. So answer C for this question is correct. Answer D is wrong. So the answer for this question is C. In question 11, which statement about the root hairs are correct? The cell membrane can allow movement of water and ions into and out of the cells. Yes, this statement is correct. The cell vacuole extends into the root hair. If you look at the structure of the root hair, the cell vacuole is extending into the root hair to keep it distended. They are formed as an extension of the outer layer of root cells. Yes, they are formed as an outer layer because the outer layer of the root hair cells is extended as a hair. So all these three statements are correct for the root hair cells. The answer for this question must be A. If any of the statement is not included, like in B, C and D, this answer will be wrong. In question 12, what is the main cause of water moving up to the leaves in the xylem vessel? Active transport. You know that active transport is not done in the xylem because this is a dead tissue. Evaporation from the epidermis of the leaves. Evaporation is not from epidermis because there is cuticle present at the epidermis, so this is not the answer. Okay, and evaporation from the walls of the mesophyllous cells. Yes, there is evaporation which then results into transpiration. Use of water in photosynthesis, that is correct, that water is being used for photosynthesis, but this is negligible amount of water which is used for photosynthesis. So answer D is wrong. So the answer for this question is C. In question 13, which blood vessel will have the highest urea concentration after a protein-rich meal? After a protein-rich meal, hepatic portal vein, it is coming, you know that, from digestive system and taking blood towards the liver. Okay, so urea is not produced in the small intestine. Hepatic vein, urea is produced in the liver and is taken out by the hepatic vein. So most probably this can be the correct answer. A is the wrong. Renal artery is having is providing blood to the kidneys. You know that it will bring urea, but you know that when blood is pumped from heart, it is distributed to all the parts of the body. So urea will be distributed to all the parts, not only to the kidney. So as compared to hepatic vein, renal artery will have less urea. Renal vein, it is coming from the kidney, so it has minimum urea. So answer for this question is B. In question 14, how does blood flow through the lung differ from blood flow through the rest of the body? Blood is pumped at lower pressure. You know that in the lungs we have to do gaseous exchange, so blood is pumped at lower pressure through the lungs. So option A is correct. It seems correct. Blood travels at a greater distance? No. You know that lungs are present just outside the heart, so greater distance is not possible. The blood travels faster? No, blood is traveling slower for greater time for the gaseous exchange, so answer C is wrong. The volume of the blood is greater? No. The volume of the blood is rather bit smaller because right atrium is not that big as the left atrium, or almost you can say equal volume of the blood is pumped to the lungs and the body. So answer D is wrong. So the answer for this question is A. In question 15, which statements about the blood vessels are correct? Arteries always carry oxygenated blood. No, arteries are not carrying always oxygenated blood because pulmonary artery is carrying deoxygenated blood. So answer C and D can be the correct. The pulmonary vein carries deoxygenated blood. Yes, pulmonary vein is carrying Pulmonary vein is carrying oxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein is not carrying deoxygenated blood. So answer C is wrong. Answer D is correct because this pulmonary vein is not carrying deoxygenated blood. So option D is telling us that it is not carrying deoxygenated blood. So answer for this question is D. In question 16, which equation represent anaerobic respiration in humans? You know that in humans glucose is respired without oxygen, lactic acid is produced. Only lactic acid is produced. So here carbon dioxide cannot join with glucose. This is absolutely wrong. Glucose is not producing alcohol because it is produced in microorganisms in case of plants. Glucose is changed into the lactic acid. This is correct answer. Glucose is changed into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. This is wrong. You know that glucose is a 6-carbon compound while lactic acid is a 3-carbon compound. So 2 moles of lactic acid are produced from 1 mole of glucose and the carbon number is balanced. 6 carbon and 3 to the 6 carbon. So if we will take here 3 carbon for lactic acid and 1 carbon for carbon dioxide, we cannot balance this equation. So option D is wrong. The answer for this question is C. In question 16, which process does not use energy released from respiration? Diffusion of substances down a concentration gradient. You know that diffusion is not using energy. Here we mean energy in the form of ATP. So answer A is correct. Muscular contraction. Muscles are using energy for their contraction. Production of protease enzyme in the pancreas. You know that protease enzyme is a protein and synthesis of protein needs energy. Okay, replacing heat loss from the body. In case of replacement of the heat loss, ATP is broken down into heat so that body temperature can be maintained. So this option is wrong, this option is wrong, B option is wrong. The answer for this question is A. In question 18, the pie chart shows the proportions of gases in samples of inspired and expired air. You know that A is the maximum, then less is the 2, and the most varying amount is that of 3. Which segment represent which gas? So most probably 1 is the nitrogen. So option A and B can be correct, while C and D cannot be correct because oxygen cannot be too high and the concentration of oxygen is changed. It cannot be unchanged. Segment 2 tells us that it is other gases or the oxygen. 2 is the oxygen or the other gases. So you know that 2 is more here in inspired and it is less in the expired. Okay, so this can be oxygen. You can say that this is the oxygen which is more here, which is less here. So this can be correct answer. And segment 3 are the other gases. You know that in other gases it can be carbon dioxide because carbon dioxide is less here and it is more in expired air. So the answer for this question is B. A cannot be the answer because other gases cannot be more in proportion than oxygen. Oxygen is always greater than the other gases. The maximum gas is that of nitrogen, then it is oxygen, and then are the other gases. So A option cannot be the correct answer for this question. In question 19, in a kidney dialysis machine, which substance cannot diffuse through the dialysis machine? You know that we are putting dialysis fluid from here and we are taking it out here. Only those substances which we want to remove from the blood, they are less in concentration in the dialysis fluid than in blood. And what we don't want to diffuse out, they are either equally present in the dialysis fluid and in the blood, or the dialysis tubing is not permeable to those substances. So glucose can diffuse out from the dialysis fluid, but it is not diffusing out because its concentration here in the dialysis blood and in the dialysis fluid it is same, so it can diffuse out. Insulin is a big molecule. It's a protein which is made up of 51 amino acids, so it cannot diffuse out from the partially permeable dialysis membranes. Sodium is so small mineraloid that it can diffuse out. Urea is smaller one, it can diffuse out. Okay, NH2 twice CO, this is urea is so small, so it can diffuse out. Sodium can diffuse out. Insulin cannot diffuse out. So C is wrong, D is wrong. They cannot diffuse. They can diffuse out. Only insulin cannot diffuse out. So the answer for question 19 is B. In question 20, on a hot day, the cheeks of a light-skinned person may appear red in color. What is the cause of this? Arterioles supplying skin have dilated. Yes, when they will be dilated, more blood will be coming to the surface of the skin and the skin will appear red. So this answer can be correct. Capillaries in the skin have moved closer to the surface. Capillaries cannot move closer or away. More blood can come into them or less blood can come into them. Their position is not changed. Okay, so B answer is wrong. The person has started to sweat. Doing sweating or not doing sweating has nothing to do with the change in the color of the skin. Okay, so answer C is wrong. Temperature receptors have ceased to function. Moreover, once again, the temperature receptors have nothing to do with the vasodilation or vasoconstriction or becoming the red color cheek or not. So answer D is wrong. So the answer for question 20 is A. The correct answer for question 20 is A. In question 21, which structure in the brain registers changes in the blood concentration? You know that osmoregulatory center in the brain is hypothalamus. Cerebellum is for the balances of the body, so this is not. Medulla oblongata, this is for involuntary actions, and pituitary gland is for is the master gland for the secretion. So hypothalamus is the answer for this question. In question 22, the diagram shows a section through the skin. One is hair, two is the hair erector muscle, and three is the arteriole, four is the fat, and the five is sweat gland. Which structures are activated when a person feels cold? You know that when person will feel cold, 5 will not be activated, 4 remains at the same, it's not activated or deactivated in any case. There will be a hair erector muscle will contract to raise the hair, and 3, there will be vasoconstriction, so less blood will be passing through here, more blood will be passing from here. So 3 will be activated and 2 will be activated. So the answer for this question will be C, and all the other options A, B and D are wrong because they are talking about the activation of sweat gland in B and D, while A is telling that there will be the activation of the fat, and the fat is not activated in any case. It remains as such. In question 23, in which situation would the amount of insulin secreted into the person's blood be highest? During a game of the football, you know that there is not rise in the blood sugar level. Game of a football is consuming more glucose, so blood sugar level is already getting down, so insulin will not be secreted more. So A is wrong. Having a meal of rice is rich of starch and it has high glycemic index, so release of glucose will be a lot, so insulin is needed to maintain the blood sugar level. So the option B is correct. Waking up in the early in the morning, the whole night blood sugar level is lowered. So early in the morning, sugar level is already low, so insulin secretion cannot be increased. Working outside on a cold day will be losing a lot of heat, for which ATP energy is required, which is coming from the respiration of glucose. Working is also using glucose, so blood sugar level is already getting down, so insulin will not be secreted to further lower the blood sugar level. So C is wrong, D is wrong. So the answer for question 23 is B. In question 24, the diagram shows the bones in the region of the right shoulder. So this is, you know that this is clavicle and this is humerus. So what is the bone M? M bone is humerus bone. So answer A is correct. This is not radius, this is not scapula, because scapula, the shoulder blade is behind. This is scapula. This is clavicle and this is humerus. So it is not ulna, because ulna is in the forearm. So the answer for this question is A. In question 25, which risk is greatly increased by the nicotine in cigarette smoke? You know that nicotine is causing vasoconstriction, so blood pressure is increased. Bronchitis and emphysema. This can be the indirect result of nicotine. This is not the direct result. Cancer of the airways. Cancer is caused by the tar, not by nicotine. So this is not the answer. High blood pressure. Yes, high blood pressure is the result of the nicotine. Reduced birth weight of the babies. This can be the indirect effect of the nicotine. This is not the direct effect of the insulin. So D is wrong. The answer for question 25 is C. In question 26, which of these organisms are the microorganisms? You know that bacteria are microscopic, they are microorganisms. Yeast are the microorganisms because they are microscopic. Viruses are not organisms. So I will write that they are not organisms because they are just the particles. So 1 and 2 is correct. This 1 and 2 is correct. Here 2 is not present, so B is wrong. In C, 1 is present, 2 is not present, that's why it is wrong. In D, 1 is not present because bacteria are for sure microorganisms, so this is wrong. In A, it is saying that 1, 2, 3, all the 3 are correct. So viruses are considered here as the microorganisms, although we are not generally considering them microorganism, but no other option is correct. So the correct answer for this question is A. In question 27, which type of organisms produce penicillin and which type of infection can be treated using penicillin? You know that penicillin is produced by the penicillium. Penicillium is a fungus, so C and D option can be correct. A and B are wrong. And you know that they are used for the treatment of fungal or bacterial infections, not for viral infections, because antiviral drugs are different than antibiotics. So answer C is correct for the question 27. D is wrong. In question 28, why is the flow of energy in an ecosystem said to be non-cyclic? You know that energy is moving from producers to consumers, and from consumers back to producer it cannot go. It will be going out as heat from producers, it will be going out from consumers as heat. Ultimately it will go to the decomposers and will be lost as heat. Energy is very rarely coming back to the previous trophic level, or you can say at all it cannot be given back. So energy can only be passed on in the form it entered the ecosystem. You know that energy entered the ecosystem in the form of light, and in the form of light it cannot be passed. So option A is wrong. Energy can only be passed on larger organisms. So larger organisms or smaller organisms, they have nothing to do with the energy. Whatever the size of organisms, energy will be passed. So option B is wrong. Energy cannot be completely returned to its original source. Yes, energy cannot be returned to its original source. Say for example, for consumers, the source is producers. So it cannot return back to producers, at least completely. Very minor amount can go back, but completely it cannot go back. So option C may be wrong, may be correct. Energy cannot have its form changed within an ecosystem. This is wrong. Energy is changed in an ecosystem. Its forms are changed from light energy to chemical energy to heat energy. It is changed into different forms. So option D is wrong. So the answer for question 28 is C. In question 29, a square meter of the grassland receives 1,004,000 kilojoule of sunlight energy per year. The table shows what happens to this energy. Number one, evaporation of water from the grassland. This is not used in photosynthesis. Absorption by the ground. This is not used in photosynthesis. Refraction from the leaf surfaces. This is not used in photosynthesis. Formation of new grass leaves. This is used in photosynthesis. Okay, metabolism of the grass plants other than growth and respiration. This is also coming from the biomass produced by the plants. So this is also there. Heat lost while the grass plant transpires. You know that heat is produced by the breakdown of ATP, and ATP is coming from the respiration of the biomass produced by the plant. So this is also there. So these three are non-photosynthetic. Okay, while these three are the photosynthetic. Okay, they are the photosynthetic uses of the energy, means this energy has come which was trapped by the photosynthesis. So how much of 1,004,000 kilojoule of sunlight energy was used by the grass plants? So if you will add up this and this, it is 22,000 plus 1,000, 23,000 plus this is 24,000 kilojoule. So answer D is correct for this question. C is wrong, B is wrong, and A is wrong because these are not the correct answers for question 29. D is the correct answer for question 29. In question 30, some bacteria survive best in waterlogged soil where they are able to obtain oxygen by the respiration by breaking down the nitrates. Nitrates are broken down. These are here the nitrates. They are broken down into N2 plus O2. We can balance this equation. So oxygen is obtained by the breakdown of the nitrates. Nitrogen gas is released as the waste product. To which type of bacteria does this description applies? You know that nitrates are being depleted into nitrogen gas. So this process is called denitrification. So they are the denitrifying bacteria. They are not decomposers. They are not nitrogen fixing, and they are not the nitrogen fixing bacteria in root nodules. So the answer for question 30 is B answer. In question 31, how many times must an uninfected mosquito feed on human blood to transmit the malarial parasite in the human population? If the mosquito is uninfected, first it will get infected from some malarial patient and then it will transfer to some healthy person. So at least 2 times the mosquito will have to feed on the human. So at least 2, answer B is correct. Only once that will be wrong, and at least 3 times, no, it will be 1 time extra. More than 3 times, this will also be extra. So it is, we know that we have to transfer from patient to healthy person. This is the healthy person and this is here mosquito. So mosquito will take from here and will give to this person. Okay, So 2 times feeding is sufficient, not more than 2 times and not even for less 1 time. So answer for question 31 is B. In question 32, the diagram shows the origins of a type of pollutant entering an ocean bay. From the human sewage 34%, from the farms and the city streams 34%, from the atmosphere 32%. What identifies the type of pollutant? Carbon dioxide, it is not the form of pollutant because it is being recycled. So this is not there, and this is the gas. It is not present in the sewage or in the streams. That is wrong. Insecticides are also not present in the atmosphere. They can be present in the agricultural streams, in the agricultural waste. Okay, wash away water of the agricultural waste. They can have the pesticides. Pesticide cannot come from the atmosphere. This is wrong. Methane is a gas. So in the sewage water, methane will not be present. It will be liberated in the outer atmosphere, or at least from the atmosphere. It cannot come back to the soil surface dissolved in the rainwater. So methane is not coming from the atmosphere. So this is wrong. Nitrogen containing chemicals, almost all the organic compounds such as those of proteins or such things, they are having nitrogen containing chemicals. So they can be present in the sewage, they can be present in the city streams and the farms, and the nitrates in the form of NONO2 through the acid rain, they also can come from atmosphere. So the answer for this question is D. In question 33, which structure contains the ovary of a flowering plant? You know that ovary is present in the female reproductive part, and the name of female reproductive part is the carpel. Anther is the male reproductive part. Ovule is the part of the carpel, okay, and pollen grain is the male gamete. So carpel is the female part, so this is not there, and ovule is the part of ovary. Ovary is not the part of the ovule, but ovary is the part of the carpel. Carpel is the name for overall female reproductive part of the flower. So the answer for question 33 is B. In question 34, the diagram shows the life cycle of a species of a plant. During which stage does meiosis, the reduction division, occur? You know that for sexual reproduction, meiosis occurs during gametes formation. So pollen grains are the gametes. So during pollen grains formation, there will be meiosis. So the answer for this question will be A. During daughter plant, during asexual reproduction, C is the mitosis, and while B is the fertilization, where male and the female gametes are fusing with each other, and seed will develop into the mature plant by mitosis process. So this is also not the reduction division. So answer for question 34 is A. In question 35, the diagram shows the female reproductive system. Where does implantation occur? You know that what are different parts? B is the ovary, C is the uterus, D is the cervix, or you can say vagina, while A is the oviduct. So you know that in almost all the cases, implantation occurs inside the uterus. So answer for question 34 is C, while answer B is wrong, A is wrong, and D is wrong. In question 36, in the control of female fertility, which hormones could be used for preventing ovulation and which could be used for promoting the ovulation? You know that promotion or inhibition of the ovulation will be done by the negative feedback inhibition of luteinizing hormone. If there is high concentration of estrogen and progesterone, it will cause negative feedback on the secretion of luteinizing hormone. High concentration of estrogen and progesterone will inhibit the release of luteinizing hormone, and if luteinizing hormone will not be there, ovulation will not occur. So prevention is not done by LH, so C is wrong. Here once again it is LH, this is wrong. A can be correct because FSH is inhibiting, but along with FSH, estrogen and progesterone, they are also needed in high concentration. So D can be correct. Promotion of the ovulation. Luteinizing hormone causes ovulation. This is not promoting ovulation, while it will cause ovulation. While progesterone will not cause ovulation, rather it will inhibit the release of luteinizing hormone. So A option is wrong. Follicle stimulating hormone will promote ovulation because when ovulation occurs along with the surge of luteinizing hormone, there is also a surge of follicle stimulating hormone, because it will cause a quick release of estrogen, rise in the metabolic rate will occur, and it will cause the release of ovum. So follicle stimulating hormone will promote the ovulation, and estrogen and progesterone, they will prevent ovulation by the negative feedback inhibition to the release of luteinizing hormone. So the answer for question 36 is D. In question 37, a student wrote some statements about the chromosome but made a number of mistakes. There are 46 pairs of chromosomes in a human body cells. No, there are 23 pairs. There are not 46 pairs. In gametes, chromosomes are found in pairs. No, chromosomes are the haploid cells. They do not have the pairs. So this thing is wrong. Male have one X and one Y chromosome in each body cell. Yes, this can be correct, that it has one X and one Y chromosome. This is correct. Chromosomes contain a long DNA molecule divided into sections called the genes. Yes, chromosome has long DNA and it can be divided into the genes. This statement is correct. Chromosomes include genes which are divided into sections called DNA molecules. Genes cannot be divided further into sections called the DNA molecules. DNA molecule is making the chromosome overall. Overall chromosome is there. So this is an ambiguous statement that chromosomes include genes which are divided into sections called DNA molecules. Chromosomes are also DNA molecules and they are divided into genes. So fifth statement is not the proper statement. This is an ambiguous statement. 3 and 4, they are the proper statements. So the answer for question 37 is D. C is wrong because 2 statement is wrong. B is wrong because statement 1 is wrong, and A is wrong because first both statements are wrong. In question 38, elephants are hunted by poachers for their tusks, which are a source of ivory. In 1930, in a national park, 1% of the elephants were born without any tusks. Lack of the tusks was the result of a gene mutation. Currently, in the same area, 15% of the females and 9% of the males do not have tusks. Which statement can explain this increase in the number of tuskless elephants? Selection against tusked elephants is occurring. Yes, the non-tusked elephants, they are being favored. So tuskless elephants, they are favored, and tusked elephants, they are not being favored because they are being hunted. Tuskless elephants are less likely to be killed by the poachers. Yes, because this is the selection pressure. Tuskless elephants reproduce and pass the allele to their offsprings. During the process of natural selection, the favored alleles are more passed, they are greatly passed to the offsprings as compared to the non-favored alleles. So this statement is also true. So A, 1, 2 and 3, all the 3 statements are correct for the natural selection process. So answer A is correct for question 38. B is wrong because it is not including this statement 3. C is wrong because it is not including statement 2 and 3, and D is wrong because it is not including statement 1. In question 39, the diagram shows a family tree in which hereditary night blindness occurs. Circles are the females, squares are the males, vertical line indicates the progeny line, while horizontal lines are the marriage lines. Okay, so this is the 9. This 8 individual is the affected individual. Okay, what is the chance that unborn child 9 will be a male with night blindness? You know that this pattern of inheritance is shown that this is the recessive trait, because this is heterozygous, capital N small n, this is capital N small n, and this individual is small n. Both the parents are normal while this daughter 8 is affected. So this is homozygous recessive. Now the 8th individual can be affected. The chance for homozygous recessive combination, the chance is 0.25, or you could say this is 25% or 1 by 4. Okay, now out of them, these 1 by 4 can be male and these 1 by 4 can be females. So the chance of male to female is once again 50% this and 50% this. So half of 25% can be male and half of them can be female. Or you can say 1 by 4 can be further divided into 1 by 8 and 1 by 8. So the chance of individual 9 to be night blind male will be 1 in 8. So answer C is correct for question 39. Answer D is wrong, B is wrong, and A is wrong. Students may mislead towards answer B because it will be the probability of night blindness without gender, whether it is male or the female. When you will include the gender, then it will become 1 by 8. In question 40, which statement about dominant and recessive alleles is not correct? A dominant characteristic is seen in phenotype of heterozygous. Yes, this is correct statement. This is not incorrect statement. A homozygous genotype may be either dominant or recessive. Yes, it can be capital D, or it can be small d. This is also the true statement. A recessive phenotype always have 2 recessive alleles. Yes, the recessive phenotype will be this one and it will have 2 recessive alleles. This statement is also correct. The phenotype of a homozygote is always dominant. No, phenotype of a homozygote, this is a homozygote, this is a homozygote. This phenotype is dominant phenotype, okay, while this phenotype will be recessive phenotype. So this statement is not correct statement. So answer D is the answer for question 40. C is wrong, B is wrong, and A is wrong, because all these statements are correct. And we have to find not correct statement, and not correct statement is the D.